To properly ground a galvanized pipe system according to the National Electrical Code, several materials are required. Firstly, you'll need an 8-foot long, 5/8-inch diameter copper-clad ground rod that is UL listed. This rod will serve as the primary grounding electrode. Secondly, use number 6 AWG solid bare copper wire. This wire will connect the pipe to the ground rod and the electrical panel. As for clamps, two 5/8-inch ultralisk ground clamps are needed. One will attach to the galvanized pipe, and the other will attach to the copper-clad ground rod. Additionally, you will need one grounding wire clamp to connect the wire to the rod. Other essential materials include a non-metallic nipple and cap for the water main conduit or electrical tape to protect the wire, and a grounding lug or bonding bushing. Here is a step-by-step procedure for grounding the galvanized pipe. 1. Disconnect the water main from the house piping system. 2. Install a non-metallic nipple and cap on the water main to isolate the galvanized pipe from the water supply. 3. Drive the copper-clad ground rod 8 feet deep into the ground, at least 6 feet from the house foundation. 4. Attach one ground clamp to the galvanized pipe near the water main. 5. Attach the other ground clamp to the copper-clad ground rod. 6. Run number 6 AWG bare copper wire from the ground clamp on the pipe to the ground clamp on the rod. 7. Connect the ground wire to the grounding lug or bonding bushing in the electrical panel. 8. Protect the wire with conduit or electrical tape. 9. Reconnect the water main to the house piping system. Some additional notes to keep in mind are that the ground wire should be as short and straight as possible. All connections should be tight and secure. If the water main is insulated, a bonding strap must be installed between the water main and the grounded pipe. Grounding the plastic pipe is not necessary since it is non-conductive. The purpose of grounding the galvanized pipe is to provide a lower impedance path for fault current to return to the source, typically the electrical panel. This helps to ensure that circuit breakers or fuses trip quickly in the event of a fault, preventing electrical shock and fire hazards. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, outlines the specific requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. It's important to adhere to these requirements to ensure the safety and proper functioning of your electrical system. The size of the grounding wire is critical. Using number 6 AWG copper wire is generally sufficient for most residential applications, but it's always best to consult the NEC or a qualified electrician to determine the appropriate size for your specific situation. The length of the wire will depend on the distance between the galvanized pipe, the ground rod, and the electrical panel. Minimize the length of the wire to reduce impedance and ensure effective grounding. The ground rod should be driven into the ground until it is fully buried, leaving only the top portion exposed for connection to the grounding wire. The location of the ground rod should be at least 6 feet away from the foundation of the house to prevent damage to the foundation and to ensure that the rod is in contact with undisturbed soil. The clamps used to connect the grounding wire to the pipe and the ground rod should be UL listed and specifically designed for grounding applications. Ensure that the clamps are compatible with the size of the wire and the diameter of the pipe and the ground rod. When connecting the grounding wire to the electrical panel, use a grounding lug or bonding bushing that is properly sized for the wire. The lug or bushing should be securely attached to the metal enclosure of the panel to ensure a good electrical connection. Protecting the grounding wire with conduit or electrical tape helps to prevent physical damage and corrosion. This is especially important in areas where the wire may be exposed to moisture or chemicals. The non-metallic nipple and cap are used to isolate the galvanized pipe from the water supply. This prevents galvanic corrosion, which can occur when dissimilar metals are in contact with each other in the presence of an electrolyte, such as water. If the water main is insulated, a bonding strap must be installed between the water main and the grounded pipe. This ensures that the water main is properly grounded, even though it is insulated from the rest of the piping system. It is also important to ensure that all connections are tight and secure. Loose connections can create resistance and reduce the effectiveness of the grounding system. Regularly inspect the grounding system to ensure that all connections are still tight and that there is no corrosion or damage to the components. If you find any problems, have them repaired immediately by a qualified electrician. Grounding is a critical safety measure that helps to protect you and your family from electrical shock and fire hazards. By following the steps outlined in this video and adhering to the NEC requirements, you can ensure that your galvanized pipe system is properly grounded and safe. Improper grounding can have serious consequences, including electrical shock, fire, and damage to electrical equipment. It's always best to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns about grounding your electrical system. The NEC provides detailed guidelines on grounding and bonding requirements, and it's important to understand these requirements to ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant. Grounding is not the same as bonding, although the two terms are often used interchangeably. Grounding is the process of connecting electrical equipment to the earth, while bonding is the process of connecting different metal parts of an electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Both grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. Grounding helps to protect against electrical shock, while bonding helps to prevent fire hazards. In addition to grounding the galvanized pipe, it's also important to ground other metal parts of your plumbing system, such as metal faucets and shower heads. This helps to ensure that all metal parts of the plumbing system are at the same electrical potential, reducing the risk of electrical shock. If you are unsure about how to properly ground your plumbing system, consult with a qualified electrician or plumber. They can assess your specific situation and provide recommendations for grounding your system in accordance with the NEC requirements. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always best to leave it to the professionals if you are not comfortable working with electricity. If you choose to do the work yourself, be sure to follow all safety precautions and turn off the power to the circuit before starting any work. Always double check your work to ensure that everything is properly connected and grounded. Grounding is an essential part of a safe electrical system, and it's important to take it seriously. By following the guidelines outlined in this video and consulting with qualified professionals when needed, you can help to ensure that your home is protected from electrical hazards. The principles of grounding and bonding are based on fundamental electrical concepts, primarily Ohm's law. Ohm's law states that the current through a conductor between 2 points is directly proportional to the voltage across the 2 points. Grounding provides a low resistance path for fault current, allowing high currents to flow quickly back to the source, which trips the circuit breaker or fuse. Without proper grounding, fault currents can find unintended paths through people or conductive materials, causing electrical shock or fire. The NEC provides specific guidelines for the maximum allowable resistance of grounding electrodes. These guidelines are designed to ensure that the grounding system is effective in providing a low impedance path for fault currents. The type of soil in your area can affect the effectiveness of your grounding system. Sandy soil is less conductive than clay soil, so it may be necessary to use longer ground rods or multiple ground rods to achieve the required grounding resistance in sandy soil. The depth at which the ground rod is driven into the ground is also important. The deeper the ground rod is driven, the more contact it has with the soil, and the lower the grounding resistance will be. In some cases, it may be necessary to use chemical grounding rods, which contain chemicals that help to improve the conductivity of the soil around the ground rod. Chemical grounding rods are typically used in areas with poor soil conductivity. When selecting grounding materials, it's important to choose high-quality materials that are designed for grounding applications. Avoid using materials that are not UL listed or that are not specifically designed for grounding. The grounding system should be inspected regularly to ensure that all components are in good condition and that the connections are tight and secure. If any problems are found, they should be repaired immediately. Grounding is an essential part of a safe electrical system, and it's important to take it seriously. By following the guidelines outlined in this video and consulting with qualified professionals when needed, you can help to ensure that your home is protected from electrical hazards. In addition to the materials mentioned earlier, you might need antioxidant compound for the connections, especially if using dissimilar metals like copper and galvanized steel. This compound helps prevent corrosion at the connection points, ensuring a long-lasting and effective ground. Also, consider using a grounding electrode conductor GC clamp that's suitable for direct burial if the connection to the ground rod will be buried underground. These clamps are designed to withstand the corrosive effects of soil and moisture. When driving the ground rod, be mindful of underground utilities. Contact your local utility companies before driving the rod to ensure you don't hit any buried pipes or cables. A ground rod driver can be helpful for driving the rod straight and deep into the ground without damaging it. These tools are available at most hardware stores. The NEC also addresses the grounding of other metallic systems in a building, such as gas piping. While the focus here is on the water pipe, it's important to be aware of the broader grounding and bonding requirements for all metallic systems to ensure overall electrical safety. Some local jurisdictions may have stricter grounding requirements than the NEC. Always check with your local building department to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. If you're adding a new electrical circuit to your home, it's a good idea to review the entire grounding system to ensure that it's adequate for the increased load. An undersized grounding system can compromise safety. Using a digital multimeter to measure the resistance of the grounding system can help verify its effectiveness. A low resistance reading indicates a good ground connection. Keep in mind that grounding is a critical component of a comprehensive electrical safety strategy that also includes proper wiring, overcurrent protection, and ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs. All these elements work together to protect against electrical hazards. Furthermore, the non-metallic nipple and cap are critical for preventing galvanic corrosion where the copper grounding wire connects to the galvanized pipe. Galvanic corrosion occurs when two dissimilar metals are in contact in the presence of an electrolyte such as water, causing one metal to corrode more rapidly than the other. By isolating the galvanized pipe from the copper, this corrosion can be minimized. The specific location of the ground rod can also impact its effectiveness. Avoid placing the ground rod in areas that are consistently dry, as dry soil is a poor conductor of electricity. Areas with consistently moist soil are preferable. If your home has a concrete foundation, the NEC allows for the use of the concrete-encased electrode, often referred to as a U for ground. This consists of a length of bare copper conductor encased in the concrete foundation, providing an excellent grounding electrode. However, this is typically installed during new construction. When running the grounding wire, avoid sharp bends or kinks, as these can increase impedance and reduce the effectiveness of the ground. Use smooth, gradual bends to maintain a low impedance path. Regularly inspect the grounding clamps for corrosion or looseness. Clean and tighten the clamps as needed to ensure a good connection. Consider applying a corrosion inhibiting compound to the clamps to further protect them from the elements. If you live in an area with frequent lightning storms, consider installing a lightning protection system. A lightning protection system consists of air terminals, down conductors, and a grounding system designed to safely conduct lightning strikes to the ground, protecting your home from damage. While grounding the water pipe is important, it's equally important to ensure that all electrical equipment in your home is properly grounded. This includes appliances, electronics, and lighting fixtures. A 3-prong plug indicates that the equipment is designed to be grounded. Never remove the grounding prong from a 3-prong plug or use an adapter that defeats the grounding function. When working on electrical systems, always use insulated tools to protect yourself from electrical shock. Wear safety glasses to protect your eyes from sparks or debris. If you are unsure about any aspect of grounding or electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician. They have the knowledge and experience to ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant. Remember, electrical safety is not something to be taken lightly. Proper grounding is essential for protecting yourself, your family, and your property from electrical hazards. By following these guidelines and staying informed, you can help to ensure a safe and reliable electrical system in your home.